Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Oh, my neck is killing me.
Oh, boy. It's just the whole spine now, isn't it?
Yeah. Just my neck is stiff. It's like this can't get the right pillow just doesn't work.
Yeah. I think I'm probably going to have to do that program.
Pilgrim. Pilgrim. All right there, Pilgrim.
Oh, well, hello there, Pilgrim.
So we get to
So
talk about the last episode finally.
yeah. So I did do did just get done with the second pass through and took a good deal more notes. Noticed.
Oh,
Yeah, there
that's
were
good.
some things I noticed that I hadn't before.
At least you kept under 5 pages of notes.
Yeah, yeah. So I think my secret, I have a little bit of a secret to that. It's
Oh,
concise.
yeah.
The conciseness that is every line. Every bullet point. I don't have more than a single line. So that's why I use a lot of semicolons and I try to keep the number of words down as best I can yeah. Anywho, doesn't necessarily mean there's less to talk about because summing it up into a few words, you can still say quite a bit. So, I suppose,
With that being said,
with that being said, we should. I think my headphones are starting to. What's going on here? I got some
oh,
interference happening or something. All right, let's do this thing.
yep,
Yep, yep, yep, yep, yep.
get her done.
It's either done. In 3, 2, 1. Oops. uh, in
Uh
three,
huh.
2, 1. Hi there, welcome back to Disnerds Plus, where we talk about your favorite nerdy shows on the Disney Plus streaming service. This is episode number 55. Today we are, which happens to be Thursday, December 28th, 2023, we are talking about the 6th episode of Season 2 of Loki, titled Glorious Purpose, which
Glorious purpose.
I didn't notice until about 15 minutes ago, is the exact same title of the first episode ever of the series.
You could call it a snake eating its own tail. Oh,
Holy Wait, did you just come up with that?
yep.
Holy
As you were talking.
shit. I didn't even think. Wow. You are blowing my mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty legit.
I'd say so.
I'm Shane.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm Mike. What's up?
Hey, how are
Yeah,
you?
good. I'm good.
Good, good. Hey, yeah, that their Disney Plus service added that their beta of Hulu to it, which I'm still trying to figure out. If it is it has to be part of the bundle. Like, do you have to have the bundle to for it to show up in there?
I don't know. I've always had the bundle, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, and I've always had it as long as my phone carrier has offered it. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm curious if it's is it a limited amount from Hulu that they're showing in there or something like that? I don't know.
I don't think so. I watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation on there through Hulu the other day, and it didn't seem. I mean, they weren't really bleeping anything out really either. So I was like, oh,
Oh yeah, and there's still that like setting you have content setting. I think you have to first. I don't know if it what all that's for, but like for the
mm,
R-rated stuff anyway. But oh, maybe that one. So that one, I guess that one doesn't count. But yeah, if you have an answer about the Hulu, like if you don't have the bundle and you're whether or not you're seeing Hulu, write us in and let us know. Disnerdsplus@gmail.com is the place you can do that. Maybe I gotta start saying it at the top of the show so people stay stick around to hear it.
whoops.
No, it's not. It's not a common thing. Like nobody really does that, but you know, gotta say, gotta give all the context stuff at the end. Anyway, without further ado,
Previously on
Loki. He starts doing the time slipping again. Casey turns out to be Frank Morris from Alcatraz B-15. Ends up being a doctor. Mobius tries to sell some jet skis to. Mobius tries to sell some jet skis to Loki. Obi's an author. Mobius, he's again, he's just constantly, he's just always trying to sell jet skis. That's his thing.
Those jet skis.
Or almost said Ron. It's Ron, not Ron. Don.
Ronald.
Whoa,
Ronald
Ronald,
McDonald.
which is where Sylvie works.
It's all conspiracy.
Obi tries to bring the band back together there in his garage, his warehouse.
All right, do it.
Sylvie's not having it once again, and just before it calls everything off, Sylvie has a change of heart, shows back up, and then everything goes to hell real quick again. More spaghettification, but then Loki, at the last minute, he figures it out. He figures out how to control his time slipping. On today's show, we are talking about, again, the last episode. Here in the TVA, where we left off, this time we get a very slow zoom out, or zoom away from the loom, back into the window, the control center there with the rest of the crew. And we see that we get, first thing we get, of course, is timely meeting his timely demise once more.
Spaghettification again.
Yes, this time from a different perspective, from the perspective of inside the door. But we hear that classic scream, and that was pretty good. That was pretty spot on. So Loki asks Obi what could they have done differently, and Obi really just says, they just weren't fast enough. So then we begin the cycle, the over and over cycle of Loki, the montage, if you will, of Loki trying to.
It was definitely a montage.
You can almost put in just about any montage song here, but constantly trying over and over again, faster and faster, trying to get Timely down the gangway, to which he is continuously unsuccessful. And there are a couple times in here where where Loki says something to Timely about faster this time, and Mobius keeps picking up on this time.
This time.
So they, after that he gives up after a while on that and ends up going back a little bit further to the war room with Renslayer and Brad and Timely, I guess. Who else?
Oh, good old Brad.
And I guess Miss Minutes, of course. take it back that far. He just like barges in the war room and is like, yes, I know. We need him. Like, and somehow they just get him. They get him out of there, despite him being held captive. But that only ends up getting him a few steps further onto the gangway before he spaghettifies again. So then they go back to the point where Loki goes back to the point where Timely meets Obi for the first time, and he just is rushing through all the formalities, the introductions, and everything. And Obi's explanation of his model and everything like that. He knows all this already. He's just as fast as he can trying to explain it. And then I noticed at this part that Timely still calls him Wizard, even at this part.
Yeah.
Funny.
Wizard.
So, yeah, but I guess he must have been calling him that back when they went to Timely's timeline, hey? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I think he did.
So then Loki jumps to the case, which is he's like, okay, what can we do to make this faster? And then he just flat out asks Obi, what will it take to learn everything you know about mechanics, physics, and engineering? And he says, basically, years, centuries, or decades, or centuries. And then, of course, we get the black screen, and then centuries later, which was amazing, and also, wow.
That was good.
Talk about a time jump. Which I guess is gods are used to. Like, do we know how old he and Thor were by chance? Do we have any idea?
I don't think so.
So yeah, who knows? Maybe that could be
1,500 years, maybe. I think they originally were, because I think Thor said he was 1,500 years old.
Oh my goodness! All right, so centuries, maybe not as much time as it sounds to him, possibly. I don't know. Right. So Casey is so after he learns all that, we see Loki rush back into the loom control room and carrying the temporal. I'm sorry, the I'm getting mixed up. The whatever it's called, the phase shifter, the temporal aura deviceal thing, whatever it's called.
That's it.
Yeah, temporal something. Anyway, he brings it in. He's got it in his hands, rushing with it, of course. And we see Casey he's not questioning his surprisingly advanced engineering skills, but maybe Obi should test this thing first. And he's just perfectly nonchalantly like, nope, it'll work. It works. It's fine. This works. Trust me. Like, very, very much just dismissive of everyone's concerns, and he rushes time.
Get him in there. Go.
Go on. Get him in here.
Go. Come on. Let's go.
So he proceeds to rush Timely through his aura scan and getting him back down to the gangway. And was it this part? There's he's even, I think it was maybe at this part where he even mentions something about tape, like put tape on 3 different spots on the suit.
Yeah, like it seemed like they found like leaks, and that's why he was spaghettifying so quick.
Right.
So it's like they've found every little possible thing that they could do to get him out there.
Yep.
Faster.
Yep. So then Loki's basically commentating over Timely's, the whole time he's going in there with the intention of sprinting, and then he always hits the radiation, and his obviously goes to a very slow crawl. And this time, so Loki's basically upstairs commentating on this whole thing over intercom. And well, not intercom. He's got I guess he's got speakers in the helmet or whatever. But
Not like a what is it? Yeah, he's just talking in like a I don't know. It doesn't even look like a microphone. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a microphone. Yeah. But I mean, what microphones are a very unique thing in that they all kind of look different. But yeah, basically just a thing that transmits audio, more or less. So, yeah, he's doing a very it's like commentating over a tortoise or something walking because it's very seems to be taking a very long time. But they're like, okay, you're doing great.
Got it.
Keep it going. You're doing a great job.
You're so brave. You're so brave.
So brave.
You're so brave.
Very brave.
Keep going. You got
So
this.
then he finally ends up making it to the end of the gangway, and then B-15 makes a comment like, he made it, and Loki's like, not yet. Because some of the other things he called out earlier were like, don't set the thing down on the gangway, it'll roll off. First thing he does is set the thing down. It's like, timely, remember. And he's like, oh, God, that's right. So before he can let go, he catches him on that one. So he lifts the thing up above him and gets it in there and spins the thing around. And wait, and then Loki's got to remind him, okay, now push the green button. He pushes the green button and
nothing.
He says, no. And of course, Loki has to chime in and say, push the green button. It does get a bit sticky. So he has to hit it again. Oh, by the way, this whole time, his suit, the suit is clearly deteriorating, crisply burning, and he seems like he is in seriously winded, obviously, at this point, and just in some serious rough shape. But he manages to hit that green button a second time, and it does launch I don't have the name in front of me. The temporal phase thing. Dang it! Why don't I have it in front of me?
Temporal loom.
I have it from the last episode.
Temporal phase thingy.
Device that launch.
Oh, you're talking about their little contraption they have?
Yeah.
The temporal. I can't think of what.
Temporal aura extractor? No, was that?
Oh,
earlier?
that was the other thing.
That's why I'm getting confused because there was a different device that had temporal.
Oh, what was that called?
I'm gonna get it here. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find it. We're gonna find it together. It's gonna be great. Who's gonna get there first? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win this one? Oh, it's gotta be loom something, right? Loom
expander.
Is that what it is? I cannot find this to save the life of me. Anywho. Let me know if you find it. But so anyway, he that launches off into the loom, and Loki's like, okay, great, now come back. He's telling him to come back. Let's see, where are we at here exactly? Doop. So yeah, he's actually makes it, but he's telling him to come back. All right, now come back. He's telling him to hurry, come back because he wants him to make it back.
Come back.
Clearly,
back.
all these things he's telling, he's telling Timely were from past experiences and failures. So all things like, yeah, now that you've done all those things and you've followed all my orders and all the mistakes you've made, don't die now, basically. So he finally does. He gets on back there, and you can see Loki's genuinely excited. He's smiling. He's so excited for him and everyone else. And we see him. He just
I found
found it.
the
Okay.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a throughput multiplier.
Throughput multiplier. Yes, thank you. Okay. Whew. Oh, thank you so much for that one. Okay, great.
No
See if I
problem.
can remember
I'm
that.
glad to help.
So the let's see, command. We need Mike's always right in here. All right, there we go. And as everyone knows, for now and for always, Mike is absolutely right. Okay, so so Loki sets down. He probably sets down the microphone onto the floor, and he does like a very much excited clap, and everyone else, of course, as well, cheering along with him. And once Timely finally gets back inside, I don't understand. Did he say this in a different episode? The pumpkins thing?
I don't know, but that was weird. I was like, sure.
Yeah, that's not the first thing, because we talked about the weird other made up word that he said previously, which was I don't even ask me to go back to find that one, but it was like about Chicago being the it was like the shotocracy or whatever.
Oh, shotocracy or something like that.
Yeah, but
It's very okay.
so we see Obi saying it's working, and Loki goes over and he gives Timely, he braces him and he gives him a bunch of pats on the back, on the shoulder, and on the front too. But then
in the back, in the front, and the side to side.
Bunch of pats everywhere.
Pat,
And,
pat me down. Pat
but
down,
then,
pat down.
But then they see there's the very quickly Obi says shortly thereafter says wait, the readings are off. Loki looks both puzzled and pissed at the same time after all those centuries of learning, and he goes over to the computer where Obi's at, and he even I didn't notice this the first time, but he even gives him a little shove, like a little bit of it, which is it's funny because like out of the way he does this, but Obi doesn't even really move at all. It's kind of funny. So he's looking at the computer. He says, "This can't be right. This can't be right." Timely ends up suggesting that the branches are duplicating and expanding at an infinite rate. And then he kind of gives a little chuckle and he says, "It's a scaling problem, and that you can't scale for infinite, and that it's like dividing by zero. It can't be done." And of all people, then Sylvie is the one to point out, that it's almost as if when the timeline started branching, that this was doomed to happen. Thanks a lot, Sylvie. But
yeah,
then Timely just says, "I'm sorry." Before the same inevitable fate happens once more. So then Loki decides he's going to time shift back to, based on Sylvie's suggestion there, he's going to try to once again stop her at the end of time. And he gives that a shot, and, transforms. I don't know what the right. Actually, it's almost like a ghost,
he jumps. He just time jumps. So he slips.
Well, sure, but right, of course, but specifically, what am I trying to think of? It's like an exorcism almost of his past self.
His own body.
Yeah. And so he does that right at the point where he's, he appears where she's got the knife trying to kill He Who Remains, and so she's basically got the knife to his throat then, and he goes from saying stop slowly and calmly, trying to calm her down, into a desperation, complete begging of, if you do this, we're all dead, basically. So then, once again, they try fighting to stop her over and over and over, and there's a lot of over and over and over in this episode.
Or time looping, basically, right? Just doing the same thing over and over until you get.
We don't have an exact count, but it's basically like every other time loop movie at this point. Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, or what's the other one? Happy Death Day. All of those.
Oh, Happy Death Day.
It's basically turned into all those time loop movies at this point. And the fact that he had been at that for centuries, who knows how many times he's been doing this, but it continues on, because we hear every time he tries to fight her, every time it ends with the dying groan of He Who Remains, which is, it's funny because it's a unique, unlike his scream from the can you do that one again? From the spaghettification one. I was like, "Rah!"
Oh,
whatever.
oh, yeah.
This one's more of a.
Oh, that's awesome.
So then they, after quite a few attempts at that, it goes back to when they're kind of first becoming acquainted with He Who Remains. He's eating his apple, and he stops Sylvie from the first lunge, thrust, whatever, of the sword, or stops the initial attack, and then they of course have to keep fighting after that. But at one point they get to his desk again, in front of his desk area. Is it desk? Yeah, it's a desk.
Yeah, desk.
But it's not like an office, but yeah. So he, at one point, he looks back at He Who Remains, and he's like, "Why don't you fight back or do something?" To which his surprising response is to use a little, it's almost like an Apple TV remote.
No, it's his temp pad. That's the one that Sylvie has. Current, technically, in the future. It gets weird. That's that one circular one that she has, that he had before. He put down in the first season.
Sure. Did we see it do this before, though?
Not this, no. It's new. It's a new feature. Right.
But at the very least, it's a trackpad because he's able to basically slide with it. In this case, pause. Literally stops Sylvie dead in her tracks. And just kind of, it's like, okay. Then he proceeds to have Loki come over and have a conversation with him about pausing time. And he seems genuinely surprised that Loki hadn't figured this part out yet. Goes on to say, they talk about that he figured out how to time slip, and then He Who Remains mentions, "Who do you think paved the road for that?"
Ooh.
So Sylvie, after that conversation, he's like, he begins to literally play Sylvie again, and tells Loki to let him know when he's ready to have a conversation. And then, puts it right back on him, and we get a surprise from Loki, because then he raises a finger and he's suddenly able to pause
Pause.
time.
Pause,
To
Loki. Or Sylvie. You just
to
pause there.
to which he who remains response is he puts like finger on his tongue kind of and he goes like
Yeah.
he's like I knew I knew you were my favorite. You were always my favorite. And then he was of the two of you, you were my favorite.
Yeah, he remains has a smart ass way of doing things.
Yep. And then he proceeds to make fun of Timely's stutter. Timely or whatever he says. He goes on to explain that the temporal loom is a failsafe and that when it's overloaded with branches, it deletes the branches that aren't supposed to be there. So, he remains, he says the outcome remains the same. You lose.
Ooh.
Loki seems kind of not content with this, but that's definitely not the right word. He seems accepting of this at first.
Kind of.
But Loki then proceeds to say he'll talk about how what if he changes the equation. He breaks his loom.
You
And
looked at
then
an equation that Hugh Remain had in the background. That's what he said he would break it.
yeah, sorry, what was the thing in the background exactly?
Chalkboard with an equation on it.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes more sense to me now. I was like, both times I saw it, I was trying to figure out what that was.
So he's just basically, because Loki knows how to read the equation now, he's like, I'll just change your equation.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's like, well, then Deadly War is coming.
Right. Yeah, basically because the loom supposedly prevents an eternal war or whatever he called it. And that if that happens, even the loom isn't safe. Like the loom is the one thing that's safe
Mm-hmm.
as it stands. But yeah, if he breaks it, not so much. So then he goes, I should say he even calls himself HWR at one point. But he who remains, which I think is easier to say probably. It's that W letter. It's always like, it's not really shorter if you're going to say the letter W every time. But anyway, he basically says these are you either break the loom or you kill her. And I think at that point, Loki is maybe coming to terms with this. That might be the only option, but he's gonna continue to weigh his options. He's gonna get some other advice. So we see him decide he's gonna time slip back to his one of his first interactions with Mobius. When they're sitting at the table shortly after being brought in, and Loki's talking about he can't wait to be king, basically. And Loki, after he does the time slip deal, he basically tells him exactly how things are going to play out. He remembers all about this, the whole thing. You're going to show me this thing and do this stuff. And Mobius' response is like, "How are you doing this?" Like,
yeah.
So then Loki's basically there for a reason. He straight up asks Mobius, "How do you decide who lives and who dies?" To which Mobius tells the story. Now I was trying to remember whether or not he told this story originally or not. But
I don't recall him telling this story. No.
Right. Yeah, for reasons you will soon discuss. It tells the story of a hunter that was out on a mission, who was sent to prune an 8-year-old boy, or a variant of someone that killed 5,000 people, I think. Turns out to be an 8-year-old boy he was just minding his own business. He was just swimming there with his brother, jumping off the dock. His partner, so his partner had to jump in because he hesitated too much. Yeah, no, he did. It paused, even for a split second. He just hesitated, seeing this, and then his partner jumped in to do the pruning.
Pruned.
So Loki pretty immediately picks up what he's saying, which is to say that hunter was Mobius at one point. And so yes, just one thing. Who was your partner that stepped in? What happened to them? And she's she's a judge now, and she's actually the reason that he's there and not in some vent or something. They said, yeah, and it turned out to be a Renslayer, which I guess that explains their past, their history. Even though Renslayer turned out to be a total murderer.
A-hole.
Yeah, but all in the name of saving their precious TVA, I guess.
I thought you were going to say, all in the name of love. I'm like, wait, what?
No, yeah, not so much.
All in the name of love.
I'll do it for love. Like Anakin. Ooh.
Ouch.
Incidentally,
Too soon. Too soon, huh?
Speaking of, pruning kids. No, too soon.
Whoa.
I'm gonna say, hey, that's the story, man. Like that's what Anakin does. Anyway, so he shakes hands with Mobius before we see Mobius himself get spaghettified, and everything around them, except for Loki still, because I guess he's able to control everything really at this point.
He's figuring stuff out, I think, at this point.
Right. So the next place he decides to go to is what he describes as outside time. Well, I should say he doesn't go to outside time. He goes to Obi's warehouse in...
He blips to it. Or, no, not blip.
He blips to it.
Slip. He slips. Not blip, slip.
To be fair, the spaghettification absolutely reminds us all of the blip dusting, whatever.
Yeah, dusting. Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah, did it thing. It got
he did it.
Yeah. So jumps back to Obi's warehouse where everybody but Sylvie has been spaghettified at this point. So then he very quickly decides to pause time. And then he explains to Sylvie that they are now outside time. One thing I had a question about here is, so we are past the point where Sylvie, so when he first went to the past where he ends up meeting Sylvie up at the bar.
Uh-huh.
And she remembers all that. Now that we're back at Obi's warehouse, well, she can't remember that because this has all been Loki's been the one experiencing it, I guess. Like, even though she's got her temp pad that takes her places.
Yeah. Right.
This is like time as Loki is experiencing it, I guess. And obviously she wasn't along for his adventures now, so.
Yeah, I don't know how that's supposed to be perceived by
like is she having her own separate adventures with her temp pad? Like she's just constantly going back to avoid getting spaghettified, or maybe not. Maybe she just
maybe.
We do see her originally get spaghettified, so I guess the deal is she meets her demise there and then. And this is like the last moment before then. But you think she would have... I guess she did technically use the temp pad to get to the warehouse in the first place. But there's only so many times
she
you can
did.
do that.
Right, she did have to do that for sure.
Because if there's this infinite problem, like, well, literally to the point where, as we just saw, Mobius ends up getting spaghettified way earlier. So, yeah, then it's a little bit confusing about, like, who gets spaghettified when. But anyway, suspend your disbelief for sure.
My head hurts now.
Yeah, so, anywho, back outside time. So yeah, long story short, long story, yeah, not so short at all. He tells Sylvie of the TVA being a failsafe for the sacred timeline, and she kind of ends up finishing a sentence, figures out that the situation before he can even finish it. So, which is what got me questioning if she knows more than she's leading on at this point. But so she goes on to say she's not going to give her blessing to kill her if that was the thing. That was the thing she figured out is you need to kill me to basically prevent this from happening. And she said she's not giving her blessing if that's what he's going to ask.
I don't want a blessing.
And she goes on to ask if giving up free will is really worth the whole charade of all the TVA and its BS, basically. And she tells, or he then mentions the possibility of replacing the loom with something better. So then, he plays time and we see she's going through the rest of the spaghettification process. That whole timeline carries on, and then Loki decides one last time he is going to time slip.
And he's going to do it.
Back to the loom, the control room at the loom there. And it's during the aura scan there with Timely, and we see he gets a little choked up at this point. A little slow motion action going on here because he knows what he must do, but he doesn't know if he has the strength to do it. No, he does. He does have the strength to do it. He's just. We'll soon find out what that means.
He can do it.
So
you can do it.
So he slowly walks downstairs. Doesn't say anything to anyone. Gets in the airlock there, and that spins around, and we see Mobius and Sylvie run after him, and at the window, obviously asking him what the hell he's doing, and his response is, "I know what I want. I know what kind of God I need to be for you, for all of us." So I think when he says "for you," I think he's specifically talking to Sylvie there.
I think so. I would say, yeah.
So then he goes on to use his powers to force open the door and then just kind of barge down. Because his powers more or less are acting as a force field here. Which is, that would have been, it's a good thing he has his powers back, I suppose, now. But if they were able to do that earlier, that would have been, like, just, could have done this the whole time. But, so he's slowly walking down, and we see he kind of slowly morphs into the more traditional Loki with his what do you call it, costume, uniform, whatever. Whatever you want to call it.
His new god form.
Yeah.
I
Trademark Loki.
Yeah.
With his green outfit and his horns slowly start to grow bigger and bigger, which we've seen many forms of Loki. It's kind of like, it's almost like a culmination of all the forms over the years, because we've seen various lengths of horns on his helm. And you can see it's all kind of morphing together. He's slowly making his way down that gangway, and he gets, I guess, somewhat close, pretty close to the loom, to the point where he just kind of holds his hands out and boom!
Oh.
He just explodes that whole loom, and we see a bunch of these strands just kind of go like crisscrossed toward the camera, slowly
flying everywhere.
And yeah, once the dust kind of settles a bit, we see all these dying branches that Obi comments on. The branches are dying.
No,
so he grabs a few of them, and we see they slowly start turning green, of course. And he starts walking toward the loom, or where the loom was, I guess. And Luke kind of turns back at everyone, and has one last look at him before slowly walking onto a, I don't know, I guess there's a staircase, or
it's a godly staircase. Only the gods can see it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Absolutely. Unless he kind of creates it himself.
That too. He could do that.
But yeah, he's got these strands, and he's carrying them behind him, and he goes up the stairs into he somehow opens like a crevice in front of him. And then we see Sylvie make a comment about that. She just says she figures it out. She says he's giving us a chance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So once Loki makes it through that crevice, he has made it back into the end of time, which is, it's always a little bit like, when they first showed the end of time, I think you could see the loom more like right outside of it, I want to say, but now he's basically at the end of time, which was, I guess, inside of the loom. It's all very
it's like the loom is, you go beyond the loom, then you're in the end of time. So I don't know. It's weird.
So
He
it's
just
more like a
he kind of opened
kind of.
Yeah, he kind of opened a portal to the end of time where he who remains, what was left of his palace or citadel, is there and walked towards it.
Sure. So yeah, Loki continues dragging those strands up with him, or branches up with him, and they almost seem to be kind of attached to him or to his cape, like they're just kind of all being drug along, like they're like part of him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he keeps going up those stairs up to the throne that was once there. I mean, it's still partially there. But then there's
He's making the great climb.
The great climb.
I don't know. I'm just making sure.
Sure, why not? May as well be called that. And then we see these little, for lack of a better term, veins of gold, molten gold, just kind of start trickling its way toward the throne. And sort of, I don't even know if I'd say reforming it, but it's certainly solidifying it.
I'm pretty sure that was Loki doing all that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly. This is all is doing, using, 100% of his powers, I guess, at once for all of this. But I guess, yeah, I didn't really put it together until I think you kind of made me realize maybe all of everything he's learned about well, engineering and all that and all this experience, learning how to pause time and all that. Like all that knowledge is coming together now for him to be able to pull this off, right?
He knows what he has to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he ends up spinning around with his his branchy cape. He spins around all the branches or threads or whatever you want to call them.
Branchy cape.
Yeah, I don't know. It spins around. You see all the strands go with it. Flings around and he sits down on his new throne, and we see him then bring all those threads together in front of him with his hands, and just we see a huge energy then shoot out, green, of course, shoot out through them, and camera pans out all the way out. Then we get like a 90-degree rotation to reveal that this new loom just looks like a beautiful tree.
The tree of
Beautiful
Idrisil.
green tree with purplish leaves.
Well, I think he was trying to go after like the world tree that the 9 realms were under, like his father was protecting. Now it's like the universal tree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are also, basically Loki colors, of course.
Yeah, of course, because he's still narcissistic at heart.
But this is the most humble moment we've ever seen for a Loki, probably ever in the history of ever.
All Lokis.
So
Which
then,
was awesome. This was he's had a big
he had a big day.
it's one of the longest OG characters around. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then even when they killed him, they couldn't let him go.
Nope.
So then back at the TVA, we see B-15 walk into the what were we calling this? The control center. Control center.
Yeah, it's like the control room.
Yeah,
something like that.
But not to be confused with the loom control room. This is the one that looks out into like the city area, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that B-15 walks in, and I noticed this more this time, but she passes a poster that says "Let's grow together," and happens to have a tree on it, which I can only assume is Loki's loom, supposed to represent, and it's got like a guy on the left with a rake for whatever reason, like representing, I guess, cleanup, and the lady on the right is watering the tree. So it's just kind of like a new message for the TVA overall, new campaign. But
a new way of life.
Yeah. So she walks in there, she passes by someone, gives one of the people there a compliment, and I didn't really, I don't know if I thought too much of it, but she's like in charge now, hey?
Yeah, I think so. Oh no, I don't think she's in charge. I think they're like that's why they go in the war room. There's everyone collectively in there. I think there's it's like a council.
Yeah, I don't mean to make it seem like like a monarchy or anything, but I think she's at the very least been promoted. Because yeah. But the point is to show she's a good boss if she's has more responsibilities at this point, because yeah, she's giving a compliment. They're doing a great job over there on the right, and then she goes over to Obi and Casey, who have decided to reboot Miss Minutes, reluctantly, I'm sure. And B-15 has to point out, is she gonna? Is this okay? She's she gonna try to kill us all again? And Casey just kind of
I
gives
don't
a
know.
shrug. And she says, it doesn't exactly, isn't the best vote of confidence there, Obi. And then there's talks of they're going to be going to the war room. Casey says he'll save her a seat. And then she goes over by Mobius. And they're talking about the other variants, so they're tracking down the other variants of He Who Remains. And they say none of the other ones apparently know that the TVA exists. And but he does go on to talk about how one of them caused a ruckus on 616 adjacent realm, but they handled it. Of course, that being the timeline we're all used to with Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it was the adjacent part that threw me.
It's just it's the Ant-Man, the Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. That's what they're talking about.
Okay, because in my head
Because
that
that's
was
quantum realm, adjacent realm. They're talking about the quantum realm.
okay. Yeah, because my immediate thought was again, I keep crossing streams with multiverse stuff, I guess, but because because they specifically talk about 616, they actually use the numbers in
Also, no one says 616.
sorry, 616.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just saying. You're the only one that's ever said that way.
Well, yes, when I see it written out, that's how I would say it, but fair enough. Yeah. So obviously we're not talking about the multiverse of madness. 616. My point was, they specifically talk about 616 and the other multiverses in what's it called? That one movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. They specifically
We were just talking about Ant-Man. Now we're talking about what? Sorry.
Because they specifically talk about 616 and the other numbered multiverses in that movie.
Something I can't remember the other one that they mentioned, but yeah,
Anyway,
that's where we get 616.
that's all I'm saying.
But in Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man animation, they call it 1999999. So who knows?
Oh, well, that's Sony, I guess. Different, but shared a little bit. Shared in this little Spider-Man space temporarily.
Yeah, just a little, just a bit.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, then Mobius says he'll meet B-15 back up in the war room, and then she sets down a file that he requested, and Mobius looks it over, and we see that it's his file, right? His file that he requested, which at this point he still didn't know up until reading this file. Everything that we already have seen about his past life as Don.
Yeah.
So I guess shortly thereafter, I guess he's read his whole file at this point because he seems more informed. And apparently in that time he'd made the decision because he meets up with B-15 out by the murals outside, which were these the murals of the timekeepers.
There's a mural of timekeepers and one of like the Kang's variants.
Gotcha. So then B-15 talks about how Casey says he's going to have them taken down. And then Mobius makes a comment here, quote, he says, although it is a good reminder that those who do not remember the past are, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. I think he's referring to. Is he saying our what? Those who don't remember the past are what, like him, like them? I didn't know if it was that or if it was a message about like like statues being taken down or something. I don't know. I'm still
Maybe,
trying to figure it out.
I don't know.
It's like
I
very
really seem,
very vague moment, but
yeah, I didn't really think much of that moment, I guess.
or maybe it's just meant to be like he's trying
It's
to make a point
meant
and
to
he can't get it
be.
across, but anyway.
Yeah.
So she pretty quickly figures out that he is leaving. He's made his decision. He's gonna go back to his former life potentially. And he's gonna go see what they've been protecting this whole time. And B-15 goes on to say, well, if he ever wants a seat, or if he ever wants, he's got a seat back there. It's his. So,
Yeah. We'll see if he comes back.
Yeah.
You might want to get in that jet ski and just keep riding on the jet ski for all time.
So, he goes on to say, well, they need her in the war room. So then we get a slow walk into the war room there with B-15 and see all the other folks around.
Montage. Oh, look, we're all working together. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow. It's a something. It's whatever. I don't know what the title is for that. What do you call it? But slow walk, slow. Everyone's excited to see each other. Everyone's working together. We're all working together. It's a great time, grand old time here at the TVA, at the new TVA, and proceeds to go on to showing. Before that though, yeah. That's in the wrong order, but before she does that, she asks Mobius if he's scared, and he says, "Oh yeah." But yeah, so we see I almost said Die. We don't see Docs in there. Too soon. We see the judge, the other judge in there, along with everyone else. Yeah, they're having a great old time. And then we see OB opening up a fresh new box, a box of fresh new TVA handbook, second edition.
Ooh,
They're yellow this time. They
second edition.
were orange before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were.
In both cases, in keeping with the TVA's color scheme, which is basically orange and yellow, and maybe white, I guess, which is like very. What era is that? 40s or something? I don't know exactly what the specific look they're going for at the TVA is, but
Maybe 40s. I think it's a mix of everything. Just
yeah,
weird.
it's kind of steampunk, I guess, in its own way. Like
Yeah.
without the steam, it's like retro. New retro, whatever you want to call it. But so then we see Mobius outside his old home there, and or I'm sorry, no, that's not yet. We're not there yet. First we see Timely as a kid pouring candles, which was talked about previously, right? This would have been the point where he first got the TVA handbook.
He would have got the book, but this time it doesn't look like he's getting it. So.
Oh, okay. Because he looks back out the window, and I guess it doesn't show anything. I thought they were suggesting that he's getting the new handbook, but just not getting anything this time.
Nope. He will not be turning into a King variant, apparently, or something. I don't know.
Right.
Let's see.
So then back at oh yeah,
Prune Planet.
Void, right? You said
Yep, it's the Void.
Or Prune Planet. Prune Planet sounds like a place where everybody gets a lot of fiber.
Yeah. I'm going to that Prune Planet tonight, guys. Gonna get that that good fiber, that good stuff.
It's just a giant planet of outhouses.
Yeah, basically. Probably smells really bad too.
I mean, this basically is a trash planet. Like this is not too far off.
Yeah.
Where all the
Yeah.
junk goes. So Renslayer wakes up there in the grassy. It's almost like looks like a Scottish landscape or something, or I don't know how else to describe it. Like from Highlander or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Very thick.
I'm just trying to make your hand gestures here.
Like Swedish chef. Word. It's like bork. It's like the so flowing grassy hills. We've seen it before in the previous, I guess, couple episodes we had the Void before.
Possibly we're gonna see it in the upcoming Deadpool movie.
Really? Everything just gonna be in Deadpool 3 now?
Well, I mean, we'll see. I think Deadpool 3 is going to be pretty fun. It's Ryan Reynolds doing his
worst.
right, so
his best.
well, he had the right. He wrote it, I think.
Yeah, he's been heavily involved from the beginning. So yeah, she wakes up there though in the Void, and we see the pyramid off in the distance, and it's very, very windy. Some thunder, lightning crashes, and we look over, and the wind kind of reveals the giant TVA emblem underneath the grass there. Which, that just means it got pruned?
Maybe I don't know, like where they're heading
meant
with
to
this,
be
but
open-ended.
sure. Yeah.
See, because my immediate thought is like, is this like a different timeline that, like this was the TVA at some point?
Well, I beats me, buddy.
I gotcha. And then we see you have to remind me what the giant creature.
Elias.
Because we hear the iconic sound that it makes, and it emerges. Do they ever show it?
No, it's just you just see purple lighting flashing into her face, so you're just supposed to assume. Basically, they just didn't want to pay extra for the effects of it, so that's
You can always
smart.
use the excuse that keeps it more ominous, also. But yes,
but she's open ended now too, because I don't know where. What happens? It's implied that Elias is going to get her, but she didn't die on screen, so you don't know.
Right.
We'll never
Obviously,
know.
scares the living shit out of her, and then so she looks frightened, and then very quickly her face turns into almost determined, like she's either accepting her fate or she's determined to still win or something. So then we go to Mobius's or Don's old home, where he's standing outside looking on to the yard where his past self is playing with his kids.
Playing with his kids. Yep.
They're like jumping on top of him, and he says, "Help the inmates! The inmates are running the asylum." He says, yeah, this is at this point my second watch through. I'm still trying to figure this out, how this works.
Mm-hmm.
If his past self is there and he's here, how does all that work? Like, is he a duplicate, or
I don't know. It's a variant. Like he just went to a timeline where he has kids, I guess. Because there's several. I mean, I don't know if it said branch timeline when they went over there or not. I can't remember. Yeah, it was a branch timeline. So
Okay.
yeah.
And when they
Who
first,
knows?
so in the previous episode, when they walk through the portal or the time, was it time door?
Mhm.
I mean, they kind of make it sound like he'll be like his kids will be fine, like because he's still there. So I don't know if it was like when they walk through the time door of that. At that point, are they already like they've already created a second, you know, a
Possibly.
variant basically, or
Possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure.
but
It gets really messy trying to
yes,
figure it all out.
yes, it does. And then the other thought I just had was, are they at all insinuating this is like a 12 Monkeys situation? Spoilers again if you've never seen that movie, but where it would kind of make sense if it was like an Ouroboros here too,
Mm.
like where the whole situation with Loki.
Everything loops.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yes and no, because he's now broken the way things were if Timely doesn't get his book, but
Mm.
but they were kind of suggesting that Loki is the one that got that basically gave OB the handbook, despite
Yeah,
he's the one that wrote it supposedly.
I don't know. We're going into stuff I can't even comprehend either.
There's also a lot of things about. Well, we'll get there. I do want to talk about Lost, the show Lost, and how like I feel like there's a lot of. I'll just say that I feel like there's a lot of Lost similarities and like vibes I got with this season in particular. Anyway, so he's looking on to the yard, to the yard there with him, his old house, and
Mhm.
Sylvie walks up, and she kind of makes some critiques of the yard. And he says, "Oh no, it's great. It's the best house on the block. It really is." Um, and
Oh,
so somehow Mickey Mouse shows up again. So she says it's weird. It's weird that Loki is not there, isn't it? He says, "Yeah." So she doesn't know. She doesn't know what she's gonna do. He asks what she's gonna do. She doesn't know what she's gonna do. But
gonna do it. She's gonna do it. What's she gonna do?
but what Mobius is gonna do, he's just gonna wait there and let time pass. And scene. Well, almost. We've got one more scene here. Back at the end of time, the camera pans through the green glowing threads to where we see Loki on his throne with the most. Okay, Siri, I didn't tell you to. We see the most.
That's awesome.
We have the most epic version of the Loki theme starting to play, and these big horns playing, and it zooms in on Loki's face. We see that he's both like he's sad and happy almost at the same time because he knows he's doing the right thing. He's made everyone else.
He's sappy.
Yes, you can tell he's struggling. He's sad and he's happy though that he's given everyone else, as Sylvie mentioned, giving everyone else a chance, and also somehow determined, because as I think is made evident, he has finally found his glorious purpose.
Glorious.
Bum 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 bum.
End scene.
End scene. That's not the right button. I meant to give.
Ooh.
I meant to give the other. Nope, not laughter. I always screw that up. Anyway, Yeah, it was big. It was a big ending there. It was big. It was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And also, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you seem to want to point out these couple things. I think we both seem to notice the things where they sort of leave things open. However, this also seems like a pretty closed case. Like the way they ended this thing and the fact that it shares the same title as episode or season 1, episode 1. I don't know. Seems like, but like I mean, you mentioned Renslayer. We don't see an on-screen death. We don't see an on-screen death for Brad. Brad just kind of like disappears.
Damn it, Brad.
We don't see Brad. Yeah, because he doesn't even. I mean, there's weird references, which I don't think we talked about, like the arcade. We didn't talk too much about the arcade cabinet. That was the name of his movie, which like literally had his voice as the sound effects for this arcade game for. Was it
I'm just curious where he did go because he just kind of. Where'd Brad go? Where'd Brad go?
Yeah.
Brad disappeared.
Yep. So they left that pretty much open. I mean, like Mobius off doing his new thing, and then B-15 kind of running. Well, I feel like she's running the show, but yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, sure. Even in a democracy, there's leaders. I don't, but, yeah, good stuff though.
Yeah, for sure.
I now have to decide. Think what I want to do here. You see what I'm thinking about this here episode
Mm-hmm.
is it's definitely in the 4 range. It's a brand new number we never use. I'm gonna say 4 point. You know what? We'll go 4 or 5 on this one. Cause yeah, like I said, the episode where everybody dies basically is my favorite. But this is up there because the ending, like some strange things about it, like a lot of strange things happen. And this is maybe more of my Lost comparison because if you've ever seen the series finale of Lost is very. There's some weird things that go on, but it also has a very highly emotional ending as well. So it's like a combination of those kinds of things. So good. Not necessarily my favorite episode, but also good. Very good.
Yeah. For me, I say this is my favorite episode. So because it gave Loki his redemption kind of arc.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go 4.8.
Nice.
It's the highest I've ever gone. But
Yes.
I've watched Loki as a character since he was introduced, so I think this is like pretty awesome how they did it for
Which
him.
is hilarious because that was exactly the difference for I had I had 4.8 and you had 4.5 for the 4th episode. So those are incidentally our 2 highest rated episodes.
Yeah,
4.65.
we did it. Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, they closed it off. They closed off the show the right way since we don't get drawn at the majors anymore.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing. Although
I wonder where they're going to go with that now. Should be interesting what direction they go.
interesting ideas out there if they were. They haven't said what the plans are yet, right?
Nope. I hear people are trying to like say Doom is going to be the one. Doctor Doom.
Oh,
We'll see.
gotcha.
But I don't know why they just can't replace the actor. I mean, we could still have.
Well, that's the
Kang,
thing. Have they
just
said
damn actor? Like
they could still do that, right?
yeah, they haven't started shooting any other Kang stuff yet. So
Mm.
who knows? We'll see. We only get one Marvel movie this 2024, so
Gotcha. Well, all
yeah.
right. I suppose that'll
Yep,
about do
I'm
it.
gonna.
They'll do it. Stick a fork in this show. I mean, for
Yep,
now.
yep. It will.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you want to
Yeah.
write us in, once again, you can do that disnerdsplus@gmail.com. Disnerdsplus.com is the website. We'll see when we get around to Echo. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. If we do, you can sure as bet that'll be Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Central. Twitch.tv/ShaveMadOx. Mike can be found at Cool as a Cucumber, and you can find me at ShaveMadOx. That will do it for tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike. And until next time,
Hi, guys.
don't forget, for all time, always. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, later.
Hooray.
Did it. We did it. We did it. Yay.
Yes. Yes, we did.
I got one more day of work and then 3 days off again. Woohoo.
Yep, I do too. I thought I didn't have to work, but I do.
That sucks.
It's fine.
No. Whatever. Hey, at least Saint Pat. I was thinking St. Patty's. New Year's Eve is on Sunday, so woohoo!
Woohoo! Cool beans.
Yeah. I see Magellan's is closed right now.
No.
Yeah, they're doing renovations.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I feel like you maybe teased that a little bit recently. I'll have to see what that's about. All right. Cool, man.
Cool. Well,
I'm
then,
gonna go post this episode then.
yeah, I'm gonna probably go to bed soon.
Oh, wow. All right.
I'm tired.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, man. Well, have a good night.
Yeah, let me know what you're up to tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, I will do.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, once again. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we get around to the 5 episodes of Echo. No rush. Might probably take I imagine we might take a breather, but we shall see. Have a good one.